Your friend can sit right behind. That's good. Full house here. All right. Where's Hollywood? Can you turn the music off, my friend? And then, Charoop, you're ready? We're good? You're there? All right. Where's my Bonnie at? There's Bonnie. Okay, there she is. We got everybody counted for. We got Tom over here. All right. If I can have everybody's attention, please. First and foremost, this would not happen without our team. And so I want to thank, we've got Jean. Where's Jean at in the back? And Steph, they're still cleaning trays back there. Everybody get up for Jean and Steph in the back. Whoop, whoop. Oh, Steph's up there. And then we got Charoop and we got Hollywood over here. Give them a round of applause. Our go-to technical everything. Lucretia, who is not here. She's not feeling well. We have really, entrepreneurship is a team. Being an entrepreneur is lonely. But when you do it right and you have a team, you can share in the misery and you can get excited about the successes. We got a beep going on. Is that you, Hollywood? My iPad is actually live streaming. I disconnected it. Maybe we can just talk with the beat. Here we go. This is a sustainability contest. Here we go. If you've got an idea, why don't you bring it right here? If you want to change the world, I'd love to hear. It could be big, or it could be small, or it could be for profit, or not at all. Ooh. Don't even get me started. No, I'm just kidding. It's already started. And the fact that you came here today is the start of your startup. How many people here identify as an entrepreneur? Raise your hand. Okay. How many people here are affiliated with UCI? You are anteaters. Raise your anteater hands proud. Okay, put your hands down. How many people here have problems and solve problems and are innovative? All right. Even if you don't identify as an entrepreneur, if you're an anteater and you've got problems, you solve problems, you're creative, you're innovative, you are an entrepreneur. How many people here can accept the fact that they are entrepreneurs to get themselves into the right mindset to build a team, build a business, build an idea? Raise your hand if you would be an entrepreneur. Awesome. Well, those of you who are the first 100 that came in, you're going to get an I Am an Entrepreneur t-shirt. And guess what? Because you all are entrepreneurs, everybody gets a t-shirt today so you can wear it and be proud. How's that? Is that good? All right. Now, aside from our team here, I see Michelle Foley in the back. Cannot forget our extended team. We have a lot of people that are working here to make this happen. This sustainability challenge, last year we did it with the mental health hackathon. How many people remember that, involved in that? Okay, we got some new people. This is a chance for you tonight to come up with a team. You can come next week where we have AWS giving a Building Backwards workshop. If you're new to business, you don't have to be a business major. We can help you through that. And then essentially you have until April 21st to solidify your team by 9 p.m. Okay? Teams are of 5 people. Has to be a majority of undergraduates. You can have up to 2 graduate students. But do the math. There always has to be more. So if you have 1 graduate student, you have to have 2 undergrads. If you have 2 graduate students, you have to have 3 undergrads. This is primarily for undergrads, but it's great to work with graduate students. How many graduate students do we have in the house? Raise your hand. All right, ringers. Okay. What? DCE can also participate. Well, if you're who's here from DCE, Division of Continuing Education? Raise your hands high. Yeah. All right, we want to include you as well. We just consider you UCI students, unless you're graduate division. All right, enough of this. I want to introduce the CIO of UCI, the Chief Information Officer. He is the Vice Chancellor of Data Information Technology, or is it Information Data Technology?
You're close enough.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Tom Andriola.
Let's do another round of applause here for Ryan and the staff at the Entrepreneur Center. This would not happen without them.
Steph, this, that, everyone. John, we're in the back. And then I see Austin back there as well. We got extended staff and a lot of micro interns, extended family. All right, give it up, Tom.
And all I have to say is that they throw one of the best parties on campus. That's not a party where drinking is allowed. So, All right, so first of all, it's really, really a pleasure to be here and to be able to be a co-sponsor of this competition. When Ryan and I first got together, we wanted to do something cool, something different. And last year we chose mental health because it was something that we knew was on the mind of all of our students. We came away so inspired by not just the ideas and the competition, but the participation, the support, the lean-in mentality that everybody brought. We said, you know what, let's find a topic that we think our students really want to lean on again, because that's what makes it special. It's what makes it fun, because the amount of energy that comes. And we know the ideas are in all of your brains. Yeah, that part is just about putting you all together. But we want to have impact through this as well. And so we said, sustainability's it. And so we came here and we said, you know, our students are truly passionate about this topic. We know we have lots of challenges in our world. And we think our students have something to say about this. And let's give them that opportunity. Because not only do we have problems here at UCI, but we have problems out there in the world, and we think that the ideas here will help this campus be a more sustainable environment, but we also know that we can have an impact out there. So we're really looking forward to see where we go. That's all I really want to say today, other than I'm really looking forward to kind of following the process, really seeing the ideas that come up. You know, the more interdisciplinary you make your team, the more cross-pollination of different ideas that come together, and that's where the power of great solutions come from. You know, it's not about all having the same idea, but it's about the differences in your ideas and combining them that make them truly, truly powerful and impactful and world-changing. So with that, Ryan, I'm going to turn it back to you, and we're going to keep things rolling.
Thank you. Give it up for Tom. Tom, hold on, Tom. Now, UCI used to be the coolest school according to Sierra Magazine. And we've fallen to number 2 for like 2 years in a row. And so I think with something like this, we can put ourselves back on the map to be the coolest school, pun intended, in the history of the world. You guys down to help out with that cause?
Yeah! There we go. That's the idea we're looking for.
I want to be on this guy's team. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're all on the same team. We're all here to help support. We're going to have a Discord. We've got the rules posted. We want to get you all the information possible, but we do not want to stop you from our keynote speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom is out of here, and I want to introduce 2 individuals who are some of the, turn your mic off. There. 2 individuals who are some of the most dynamic people, the most loving people, the most caring people, the most inclusive people, the people who I believe sort of emulate what I aspire to be in life. And I've had a chance to get to know them personally and professionally. They literally started Barefoot Wine in their laundry room. They had no idea about the business, and that's what gave them their competitive advantage. They eventually sold to E.J. Gallo, and they have continued to work not just in business to make sure that business is sustainable. They are the biggest tree huggers around. The Barefoot brand is all about connecting with Mother Earth and putting your feet and connecting. And I'm so excited to have them here today. These are individuals that you need to follow, connect with, reach out on LinkedIn. They are, I would say, definitely my favorite mentors, and I would trade everybody just to keep our relationship going. So excited. Michael and Bonnie from, literally, they are from everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause. Michael and Bonnie, come on up. Is your microphone on?
I turned it on.
Okay, there we go. Are you on?
We're on.
All right, I'll let you take the stage.
Okay, so I'm Bonnie. This is Michael. And we are the co-founders of Wines. And we're going to learn how to use this mic going in and out.
How are we doing?
Are you guys hearing this clearly?
It's
Going in and out.
okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to pivot. We're going to turn these off. And we're going to rock and roll. There you go. Does that work?
And this is a little bit about entrepreneurship, because things don't always go like you think they're going to.
True.
You've got to be quick on your feet. You've got to be innovative and creative. But tonight we're talking about sustainability. So it's got to be the most important subject that anybody could be involved with today, don't you think? So I looked up the word sustainability, and this is what I found. Sustainability is a societal goal that relates to the ability of people to safely coexist on Earth for a long time. And I'd like to change that just a little bit. Being an entrepreneur, we're free to do whatever we want. So I'm going to change that. I'm going to say sustainability is a societal goal that relates to the ability of people to safely exist and coexist with Earth instead of on Earth for a long time.
Yeah.
So why are we here? We made wine. What does that have to do with sustainability? And what does sustainability have to do with entrepreneurship? Well, my partner Michael here knows a little bit about that as well. We got together in 1983, probably before a number of you were even born, and we created the Barefoot Wine label. However, we started with no money and no knowledge of our industry, and as Ryan had said, we started in our laundry room. So that was quite challenging. We started with no desk. We just had more space in our laundry room because we couldn't afford a washer and dryer, so there was a big empty space there. So we were innovative. We were creative. We went out to the barn in the back and we pulled out an old door and washed it down, pulled out a couple sawhorses and put the sawhorses out in our laundry room where the washer and dryer were supposed to be, put the door on that. That was our first desk in our first office of what today is the world's largest wine brand. So if you think you guys have challenges, you're right, you do. Can you overcome them? Yes, you can. And that's what we're going to help you with today.
Well, that was a great introduction, Bonnie. By the way, it is her foot on the label. It's also her,
Trivia.
It's also her foot that's on my butt every day. But, you know, somebody has to keep me straight. And when we got started with Barefoot, we went to everybody that we could think of. And we're going to bring this up a little later in the talk. And we asked them, what do you need? We didn't tell them what we had. In fact, we hadn't invented anything yet. We asked them what they needed.
This is before we created a label or the first wine went in the first bottle.
And so one of the people we asked was a buyer for a major supermarket in California at the time. It's called Lucky Markets, and they have like 200 stores down here in Southern Cal and about 200 up north. And he said, you know, there's room for a salt and pepper act, and it wants to be better than Bob, it wants to be cheaper than Bob, and I want you to put it in a pig. You got that? And I'm writing all this down. You know, I'm lucky to get the meeting. And I'm writing all this down, and I'm writing down Bob, pig, salt and pepper, and I'm thinking, what language is this? You know, but he's talking the jargon of the industry. And so I go to my friend and I say, can you please translate this? You've been in the wine business, now you're second generation. What does this mean? He says, oh, a salt and pepper act. He says, that's a red and a white wine in the same label. It's a salt and pepper act. I said, oh, okay. So who's Bob? He said, oh, Bob, that's Robert Mondavi. I said, not the Robert Mondavi. He said, yeah. I said, oh, God, I got to be better than Bob and cheaper than Bob. I said, so pray tell me one last thing. What is a pig? He says, oh, a pig. He says, that's the big fat bottle of wine. That's the 1.5 liter. That's not the 750 milliliter that everybody calls a fifth. It's twice the size, a Magnum. I went, oh. So in 37 seconds, this buyer, before he kicked me out of his office, had given me the keys to the kingdom. Why? Because I asked. Because I was scared. I did not know what I was doing. And I asked him what he would buy. Well, we produced it. We made it just like he said. We went back and we presented it to him. And he says, I can't take this. He says, nobody's ever heard of anything like this. He says, you put a foot on the label. You can't put a foot on wine. Nobody's going to buy wine with a foot on it.
They do now at Target.
They buy the hell out of it now. Yeah. But the point I'm trying to make is that you're going to run into a lot of no's. You're going to run into a lot of walls. And the question is, are you going to stick to your guns, Are you going to be true to your heart? If you believe you've got something that really works, are you going to stick to it, or are you going to give up at the first sign of fire? Because you are going to take on some phaser fire and a few photon torpedoes. So, he says, I can't take this. He says, if you give me $1 million for advertising, I'll put it in my stores. I said, I don't have $1 million. I said, I probably have 5,000. He says, well, he says, nobody's going to buy this. No chains are going to buy it. No big store, no box stores are going to buy this. He says, you got to go out and you got to sell this to every mama, papa on every corner store if you want to make this work. I said, but that's going to take years. He says, well, you better get started then. So we got started, and we had the same problem with the little stores. They said, nobody's ever heard of this. Are you going to advertise it? Why am I going to put it in? I'm going to get stuck with it. We said, just put it in, you know, it's going to sell. You know, we promise you. And we would send our friends there to buy it, but there was no real sales, and things were looking really, really bad for us, you know. I mean, the reports were coming in. One day, I get a call out of the clear blue, and it's this guy from Chinatown in San Francisco. And he says, you're a big, rich guy from the wine country. He says, I only need $50,000. I'm trying to raise money for a kids after school park for our community here in Chinatown in San Francisco. I said, I'm sorry, buddy, do you have the right number? Because I don't have $5,000. I certainly don't have 50. I said, but it occurred to me, I can give you some wine. You can use it for your fundraiser. Maybe it'll loosen some people up. They'll write bigger checks. Maybe you could auction it off. You'll use the money for some slides and swings, and you can build your kids' park. He said, oh, okay. He really would rather have had the money, but he took the wine. About 2 months later, guess what happened? Sales took off in his neighborhood. A couple months later, more sales took off. We started to say, wait a minute, is this the neighborhood where we donated the wine to that fundraiser? Yes, it is. Maybe we should try this in another neighborhood in San Francisco. So we did. We went to Pacific Heights. They were trying to clean up a creek. And we gave them all the wine they needed for their fundraiser. Sales took off in that neighborhood. We went, wow. We can't afford advertising, but all of a sudden we've discovered something here. We can use wine to advertise if aimed right. And so what we were doing was we were giving the members of that nonprofit organization a social reason to buy our product, not a mercantile reason. Mercantile's like, hey, it's $4.99, it's gold medal winner, tastes great, so-and-so loves it. That's mercantile. How about this one? I've seen those guys, they bust hump, they come to our fundraisers, they set up the chairs, they clean it up. They put their signs up, they serve their wine. We feel like we're obligated to buy their wine because they're members of our organization. Well, we started out with a big group down here you probably heard of called the Surfrider Foundation. They're from Orange County. They're the only organization pretty much in the world that is dedicated to cleaning up the beach and the oceans. They have like 175 chapters around the world. Well, when we got started with them, they had 3 chapters. And we said, hey, we're barefoot. We wouldn't want to step on a piece of glass. We wouldn't want to get into polluted waters. So let's work together. So we worked together. We put little signs on our bottles here in the Los Angeles and Orange County area in all the supermarkets that said, hang 10 for clean water. We raised over $150,000 for these guys the first time we put it out there. So this is an example of how a business can do something to affect sustainability by coupling with a nonprofit to do advertising. So we weren't bragging. We weren't saying, oh, you know, you got to buy our Coca-Cola. Look, we've got this pink ribbon on it. We're supporting the American Cancer Society. Aren't we good guys? Well, that's bragging to the general public. We weren't doing that. What we were doing was we were actually marketing to the members of the nonprofit organization themselves. Because we didn't have any customers, we figured, what the heck, if we could get the members of the nonprofit to buy our product, that's better than nothing. And not only that, maybe they'll tell their friends, their neighbors, the people they're working with, their employers. And they did. And isn't that the whole idea of advertising? It's to get people motivated so that they will go on record and say, you know me, I'm Michael, and I'm telling you, Bill, this is a great product. It's way better than a sign on the freeway. So that's how we got involved in it. So you might say, why is Michael and Bonnie here talking about sustainability in business? But how's that for an opener? Did you like that?
Yeah.
So Ryan was talking about what it is to be an entrepreneur. And the way I see it is we're all entrepreneurs. Whether you're working for someone else, you're starting your own business, maybe you've got a franchise, maybe you're looking to raise funds for your own project. You're all an entrepreneur in your own way. So it's very challenging being an entrepreneur. It's not easy. Nobody ever said it was going to be easy, and it's not. But you do have an opportunity as an entrepreneur to make a difference. You're a leader. People will follow you. So where are you going to lead them? That's why we're talking about sustainability. Michael and I have actually been speaking at schools throughout the world, really, for about 15 years. And that's a favorite topic of ours. But it has become more popular. I think it's already probably the most important thing that any of us can be involved in, is sustainability. And that's why we're here to talk to you, to try to encourage you and help you along your journey of creating something that is sustainable, creating a business and ideas, looking for where you can get the research. So we've broken our talk into 3 sections. And that is, we're talking about recognizing the problem, the challenge, the opportunity, doing the research on that idea, and then resolving that problem, which is laying out your plan. So let's talk about what topics that Ryan has given you for your sustainability projects, okay? I understand that to be water, air, energy, food, and housing, right?
Correct.
Okay. I'd like you to tell me some ideas that you have right now about each of those. So, water. What kind of problems or challenges do we all have right now regarding water? Ideas? Surf riders, they wanted to clean up the ocean. Okay? What other challenges, whatever problems are out there? Who's got an idea?
Like water accessibility.
Accessibility, exactly.
Recycling.
Oh, thank you. Recycling, that's good.
Pollution. You can light the water to put Michigan on fire.
No lakes on fire, please.
We got Ryan right here.
Oh, yes, Ryan.
Actually, the red patches in the ocean, the red tide, that's
Red patch is killing the whales. Ryan's on it.
Thank you, Ryan, for what you're doing. It's very important.
like saving the whales.
It's about saving the whales, protecting the sea life that we've all enjoyed in various ways because they're struggling right now. That's a water issue. The next one, air. Are there any concerns about air? Air pollution. Thank you, Ryan. He's got a lot of ideas for a little kid, huh?
He's a senior.
Okay, okay. Well, I've been living in Northern California for a while, and some of our problems has to do with fires. It's been burning up around there. And so we've got a lot of pollution with the smoke that's coming in through the fires. What other air problems are we going to solve? How about exhaust from cars?
How about exhaust from ships?
That's a biggie, isn't it? Yeah. And there are some solutions out there that Michael and I have heard about, but they're not getting traction because the word's not getting out about them. They're not talking to the right people, or they're not getting the funding they need. There's lots of ideas that exist that may or may not be able to turn into something that is not only beneficial for the world, but also profitable. So whether or not you're starting your own company, you could still be part of a company that's really making a difference. Another one is energy. What do we know about energy? Is that a challenge for anybody? Is that a challenge for the world?
Yes.
How so?
We're going to run out of fossil fuels soon.
Thank God.
We're using up our fossil fuel. So that energy source needs to be replaced with something else. And hopefully it will be replaced with something that is cleaner and more earth-friendly. Right? Anything else about energy that we're all concerned about? We're using more and more every day. There's a lot of countries that are using more than they have just in the last decade, and it doesn't seem to be getting any less, so we've got to create more. Where does energy come from? There's various sources. Yes? Nuclear energy. Yes? Solar energy. Wind power. Hydropower. Excellent. The waves come in, the waves go out, the tide comes in, the tide comes out. That's energy that we're not really making good use of right now. Food. Is anybody here interested in food? Yeah, let's hear it for food. I hope that you all came here for something more than just free food, okay? Because you've already had your free food. You're welcome to get up and go if that's the case. But food may not be as free or as plentiful in the future because the Earth's having some problems growing it. Yes?
They're kind of interrelated, you know, in a way. The water.
That's right.
If we don't have, like, clean access to water, we won't have rice or the wheat to grow the food. And if the air isn't right, if the soil isn't right,
Yes.
we're all kind of doomed.
If we don't have access to clean water, clean air, clean land, we're all pretty much doomed as far as growing more food. So they are all interrelated. And we all need to be working together. And I'm happy to see so many people here thinking about working together to solve a problem. Because when you solve a problem in one area, you may be able to solve a problem in another area if you just keep your eyes open. And if you're looking for a solution and you're not finding it, go to another industry and see how their problems are being addressed and solved, because it may relate to you if you just keep your eyes open wide enough. Okay? Take those blinders off. The answers are all around you, as are the problems. But they're not just problems, they're concerns. They're challenges. And with a challenge comes an opportunity. So you have an opportunity to make something better. Okay, the last one was housing. Any of you concerned about housing? Okay. So, Michael and I, being in Northern California with fires burning all around us as a result of the earth heating up and various other reasons, we are doing what's called hardening our house. That means that we're taking measures to make it less likely to burn down. And that has been quite a trip for us. Michael's been researching it for 2 years. And one of the things that we found is really needed that isn't out there, another opportunity for a business, is if there were one company that could work with homeowners to tell us all the different ways that we can harden the house. We can cut back vegetation, we can change the vents so the air can't come in. Many other ways. We have a redwood house, that's wood. It's dry wood, it burns. So we've got to coat it with something. There's lots of different coatings. This is a very complex problem, and I'm just talking about our home in Northern California. What other housing concerns are there? Yes? Oh, homelessness. What a sad problem. San Francisco, our nearest big city, has been struggling with that for a long time, and they haven't come up with a good solution yet. I suppose you've got a few problems here too, huh? Near here? Yes, that's a big concern. Any other housing concerns that come to mind? Land availability. So if you see a field that's not built on, is that a vacant lot that's just waiting to be planted, or is that some place that maybe you want to use to grow food? If it's big enough, maybe it supports wildlife. Maybe it supports a tree that's going to help cleanse the air. Okay, how do you use that land? What is the value of a piece of land? What would be the best use for it? Yes?
We need to, in order to get more affordable housing in the land we have, the zoning laws have to change. In order, most people don't want to vote for that because that reduces their home value. But then if we get high rises, then more people could live there. But there's also an added challenge. If we do add the housing, we need to have the resources to
It's a complicated problem. If you've got a piece of land, what is the best use for it? Do you want a high rise where you have a greater number of people? If you do that, you need to support those people that live there with local businesses and services. Nothing simple. Did I already say that? Yeah, nothing simple. That's why it's important to take the blinders off and look in a number of different directions. Look for people that are working on problems, that are solving problems, that maybe you can take advantage of them, what they're doing, the ideas that they've come up with. We're all in this together. We're all citizens of the earth, and we're all responsible for taking care of this. We are the caretakers, whether we're really taking care or whether we're just taking advantage. But you guys are here to take care, aren't you? Okay. Well, thank you for those responses. I appreciate that.
So we're here to recognize, research, and resolve these problems. So let's talk about recognize. Recognize means, are you really seeing the problem, or are you just glancing at the problem? Do you know what the problem is? Do you have an objective view of the problem? And you don't have to solve the world's problems. You could solve a problem that is caused by a solution to a problem. You could solve a piece of a problem. But like was mentioned earlier, it's always good to get people who are in other disciplines to look at the problem. So as you put your teams together, you want to make sure that you have people from different views looking at the same problem. Have them put their statement of the problem on the board. You'll be surprised. Their view of the problem may not be your view of the problem. And one thing we've learned in business is that the best solution is the solution that is the best statement of the problem. Interesting, huh? So if you can state the problem properly in its most elegant terms, you're going to see the solution. Another thing we've learned in business is that solutions are the elegant solution. You know what elegant means? It means it's simple. It means it solves a lot of problems. It doesn't just solve one problem. So get your other problems out on the table and look at them. So when you're looking at this problem, think of other problems. Like this gentleman says, they're all related. There's no question. They're all related. So when you look at these problems, you think about how this solution that you have in mind solves not just your problem, but it might solve someone else's problem. So keep your minds open for that. And as you form your teams, make that be the spirit. That's what we call the Barefoot spirit. One of the things we've done for you is we put together a resource. It's called Problem Solving Barefoot Style. And it's going to be up on the site.
Yeah, we'll get them access to it.
And you're going to have access to this. And it's like 7 steps that we discovered the hard way about how to solve almost every problem. And what else can we talk to them about recognizing?
When we're under pressure, we may not see the problem clearly. There's too much pressure on us. our brains have a tendency to go from the problem right to the solution and skip research altogether, kind of in a panic mood, right, or mode. We've got to come up with an answer really fast. Well, sometimes if you've got the lion on your tail, you know, you've got to do that. But if you just see that lion off at a distance, you've got time to do some research. You've got time to come up with a plan. You've got time to ask other people. So being in a panic mode isn't necessarily when you want to make your decisions. You don't understand the problem clearly enough. You've got to research it. We have preconceived notions due to our personal experiences that lead us to false conclusions. That's why we talk to other people, so we can really understand the problem clearly to start with. There were two sisters, okay? They each wanted the orange. There was one orange. They fought about who was going to get that orange. That was their problem. They each had to have that orange. Well, the solution turned out to be, when they did a little bit more research about what they wanted, what did they really want? One person wanted to eat the beautiful, juicy, sweet flesh of the orange. The other sister wanted the orange zest to frost her cake, to put in the frosting of her cake. So they both got what they wanted with the one orange. But at first they fought over it, thinking that neither one of them were going to get what they wanted. So the problem isn't always what it is that you think it is.
Can I jump in here?
You can.
Okay, thanks. So I guess you've heard this before, but Henry Ford said if I'd asked my customers what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. So you got to think about that. Are we looking for faster horses today? Is that what we're looking for? What are we going to do? Put high-speed hooves on them and, you know, gas them up? What are we going to do? Put a rocket on their back? I don't think so. So that's the thing. You don't want to jump to conclusions. You don't want to have preconceived ideas. So you got to kind of, when you're looking at the situation, the first thing you got to do is take a chill pill. You got to say, yes, this is a problem, but now you got to relax until you can really see it. Get all the help we said. Get the outside opinions, get people from other disciplines to talk about the problem. And then another thing that we do is we believe in making friends with people in low places.
This is where we start the research. So we've recognized the problem, and now we're going to research it.
So we had a problem. Our problem was we weren't making any sales in Minneapolis, and we couldn't figure it out. And they just kept saying, I'm sorry, Barefoot's not selling here. You can't sell everywhere. You know, you're going to have to take some hits. And so we got on a plane, we went straight to Minneapolis. When we got there, we went to the store that they were complaining about. Sure enough, Barefoot wasn't selling in that store. In fact, it wasn't in the store. But we went in the back room, and there was some Barefoot in the back room, but it was the wrong varietal, the wrong type of Barefoot. So it wasn't on the shelf. So we went to our distributor and we said, why was this misdelivery not only misdelivered, but it hasn't been corrected for months, and now the buyer of the store wants to discontinue Barefoot because he's just looking at a screen and he sees that it's not scanning. So nobody asked him, well, your guys didn't put it out there or they got the wrong stuff. No, that's my responsibility. I'm in California. I have to come over here. They said, well, you know, you got to talk to your distributor. So I talked to my distributor. The distributor says, it's not our fault, you know. It's the people come in at 8 o'clock and they work all night and they do the picking, the sorting of all of our products and put them in trucks and ship them out to the stores. So I came back at 8 o'clock that night, you know, and they said, oh, well, you know, it's not our fault. It's Jimmy. Jimmy doesn't come in here until midnight, and he's the guy who runs the forklift, and he makes the decisions. I said, okay, then. So I went out, and I bought some coffee and a sandwich, and I showed up at midnight. I'm in a suit and tie. I show up at midnight. I'm the CEO of this company. I show up at midnight in this warehouse. Why? Because I won't take no for an answer. I want to know why. Well, Jimmy's there. And he says, yeah, you know, what are you doing here in your fancy suit? You aren't going to get any work done like that. And I said, no. I said, but I want to know something. I said, how come you guys keep misdelivering our product? You know, you're wasting a lot of gasoline and trucks and you know, forklift time and everything else. Let alone the fact that I'm going to get discontinued because you're delivering the wrong stuff. He says, why don't you get up there on that forklift? So I get up on the forklift, in a suit and tie. Now I'm on a forklift. He says, what do you see? I said, well, I see a big warehouse. He says, no. He says, what do you see over there? I said, well, I see a bunch of boxes of wine. He says, can you tell the difference between that box of wine and that one? I said, no. I said, wait a minute. Do you want me to make the labels bigger? He says, no. He says, why don't you just make the whole box the same color as the color of the wine that's in it? And then we won't make mistakes.
Yeah.
It winds up being a lot like that. What we did was we were the first company that actually codified our types with colors. But it came from a forklift operator. Now, what if I hadn't asked? What if I had just gone to the white-collar workers that ran the distributorship? They would have said, well, it doesn't sell everywhere, sorry.
This is what we call making friends in low places.
People
Making
with
friends.
actual dirt under their fingernails.
Right.
You know?
A little grease there from working on the forklift, right? This is the people that are out there doing the job. Michael also went around and he talked to the people in the stores that were restocking the products on the shelves when we've had other problems. Because those white-collar guys that are up there in their offices, they never get out there to the warehouse and they never get out there to the shelves. They don't know what's going on oftentimes, which is kind of a shame because that's where a lot of people go to for their answers and for their reorders and for their attention. When, you know, you really have to learn from the people that are out there getting the work done. We call that making friends with people in low places. What do they have to say about the challenge that you have?
Yeah, so talk to the mechanics, talk to the people that are, you know, clearing the tables, talk to the people that are in the back rooms that are, you know, driving the trucks and the forklifts and throwing the boxes around. Ask them what they know about the problem. You'll be surprised. You might hear some things that would just blow your mind. We did. Almost all of the good ideas that we had at Barefoot came from blue-collar workers. And they just spilled because nobody ever asked them before. They were honored that we would come to them with a suit and tie and hat in hand and say, what do you think about this? See? So that's what you guys got to do. If you really want to solve these problems, you got to get just the white-collar worker, you got to get the blue-collar worker, you got to get everybody, the truck driver, the mechanic, find out what they think, get some insight on these problems, and I guarantee you, you'll come up with better solutions.
Fellow travelers is what we're talking about. Reach out for your fellow travelers, also known as strategic allies. Who else is in the industry that you are researching? And who else has had success in that industry, and how did they accomplish that? And what were the problems that they have that are yet to be solved within that one company? And who's tried to do a business in the industry that you're thinking about going into that have failed? Who are they and why did they fail? Did they have a great idea but they just couldn't get it to market? That is a very common problem, getting the word out, communication. So when it comes to communication, I leave it to Ryan. He's Mr. Communication. But there's many challenges, and by working with your strategic allies, you will learn a lot. Another part of research here is getting an objective view. Talking to people that have opposing ideas and opinions. What do they have to say? What are their complaints about what it is that you think you can do that would improve the situation? It will really open your eyes to a lot of different ideas.
So let's talk about strategic allies, okay? So basically in business it goes like this. Who gets rich if you get rich?
Put a buck on it. You want to make a difference, put a buck on it.
Who benefits besides yourself? Find out who benefits. You solve this problem. Who do you solve this problem for? Make a list of all the people that you can imagine that will be benefited by your solution. Go talk to them. Ask them what they think of your idea. They might tweak it left or right. You have to remember something. You've got to be practical. And practicality is where ideas hit the road, right? So the whole time you're researching, one of the things you're doing is you're testing. You're constantly testing. So you're taking these ideas and you're seeing how they fly, right? And you're asking people, ask people who are in marketing, how would you market this if this came into fruition? You're asking people who handle it, like, how would you package it? How would you deliver it? See, and that can even affect the way that you design it. Now, like we said at Barefoot, we got started with big fat bottles of wine, pigs, right? We would have never dreamed of that. We would have never dreamed of that. But what if we hadn't asked? What if we went in there with our ideas, our prejudiced ideas about the wine industry? Oh, wine, it comes in a 750 milliliter. Well, what about the big pig? It turned out that that's where there was an opportunity to get into the market at all. There would be no Barefoot today if we didn't know that. It was our key. So that's the kind of thing you're looking for. You're looking for those keys, and they're out there. You just have to be non-prejudicial, open-minded, ask a lot of questions, get help, find out who benefits if you benefit. And you can do this thing. You can absolutely do this. And this is a great contest. This is a great opportunity for young people like yourselves to get involved and do something that we did. And you know, we're all entrepreneurs. I don't care whether you're a student or whether you're an employee, you are selling yourself. You're building your resume. You're asking for a raise. You're trying to raise money for your project. These are all entrepreneurial things that you're doing. They're entrepreneurial things. And one thing about anteaters is they eat a lot of ants. So think about it. These are a lot of little problems, right? Just zap them up, right? You could do it. So
Michael,
there.
this is what you call looking at things from the 10,000-foot view.
Right. The quickest way out of the box is what direction? Straight up.
Straight up.
That's the quickest way out. You don't have to go through the sides of the box. When you're up there, you see things. You see, oh, look at how they solved it in this industry. Look how they solved it in that industry. Maybe we could take that solution and apply it over here. So these are all things that we're trying to give you today to be tools that you can use as you go out and as you attack this challenge. And it's a great challenge. Did you get some ideas today? What do you think? Are you armed and dangerous now? You feel a little more confident? See? It's not undoable. It's doable.
Yes.
When you were on the forklift, as in like on the two, like in the driver's seat.
Driver's seat.
In the driver's seat, yes.
But also, how long was that from your initial garage, laundry to that?
Yeah, we started in the laundry room, and by the time we were moving across the states into various chain stores was probably about 4 or 5 years. It takes a while to get
Traction.
going. It takes a while to get traction, absolutely. And in their community, we were supporting some of their cleanup efforts, working with small communities and putting their tags about their fundraisers in the markets that were near where their fundraiser was taking place. So by working in a group, we were benefiting not only the nonprofit, but also the retailer, because the markets were able to have more decoration with these tags on the bottles. It made it more attractive. Their customers that came in, they were excited that this store was supporting the nonprofit. A lot of the people in the neighborhood didn't know about the fundraiser that was taking place. So this made them aware. And of course, we sold more wine. So everybody was winning with this idea. And the reason we did it is because we didn't have money for advertising. But we found a way to get the word out that worked much better than advertising. It's word of mouth. It's working with the community. And that worked so well that during the 20 years that Michael and I had and built Barefoot Wines, we never had paid advertising. We became one of the fastest growing wine brands in the nation by working with nonprofits and community fundraisers.
Give it up for Michael and Bonnie. Any hot pocket questions out there? Chance to ask some questions? Yes, sir.
Do you have any previous industry experience in other fields that you felt helped or hindered you in the wine industry?
Well, we had business experiences, both of us. Michael had worked for the government, and he was helping relocate businesses that were privately owned into other areas when there was a renovation, a city renovation that was taking place. These businesses had to move. So he understood everything that took place between opening the door in the morning to locking it up at night. So that's quite an experience. So he was able to put that in. I'd worked with small business owners managing their offices. And it's amazing how many people that I met as clients and elsewhere that had wonderful ideas and a great business, but they didn't know how to organize their office or their books or their inventory. It takes more than one person with a good idea. Michael's father used to say, a good idea is like a belly button. Everybody's got one. You've got to push it to get it going and then run to keep up.
Other questions? Yes, sir. Hollywood, loud.
Yes, I wanted to ask why that let's go.
Let me answer
That a lot of you start making why not something else?
It wasn't our idea.
Yeah, it wasn't our idea. We didn't want to go into the wine business, you know. I mean, I was a beer drinker. Once in a while, I'd have some vodka, you know. But I never drank wine because I thought it was a little bit too snooty, to tell you the truth, which is why when we did Barefoot, it was just the opposite. But I had a client, thanks to her. She had a client, as she said, she was cleaning up people's offices and overseeing their activities. And one of the people she was working with was a vineyard owner, and he was growing grapes and selling them to large wineries. Well, they hadn't paid him for 3 years, and she caught it on the books, and she said, Michael, I've found this guy that I'm working with. I mean, I've only known this woman for about a year, okay? And she says, would you go talk to this winery because they owe my client $300,000? You know, it's like marry the mob or something. I don't know what I've gotten into. All of a sudden, I'm collecting money for my girlfriend, right? 300,000. And of course, I can't get anything out of them except wine and bottling services. And I
Why?
know-
Because they were going bankrupt.
They were going
They'd
bank-
already filed
Yeah,
that morning.
Yeah. So here we have $300,000 worth of wine and bottling services. We have no label. We have no knowledge of all of the government licenses that we have to have. In every state in the union and in other countries, we don't know anything about that. And we say, yeah, you know, this is better than a stick in the eye. We'll take the trade. So they traded us goods and services for the debt. And then we went back to the guy that the debt was owed to, and he says,
The grape grower.
He says, I don't want to do this. He says, that's some kind of a mercantile business. I'm a grape grower. I'm a winemaker. I don't want to get involved in supermarkets and distribution and all that. And we thought, yeah, well, you know, this is $300,000. That's just too much money to just throw away.
He
you know?
he actually said, I guess I'll have to take the loss.
And we said, if that's not laughable, here's laughable. We said, okay then, you know, how hard can it be? How long could it take? See, ignorance is bliss. When I was 18, my dad said, you better get a job now while you know everything, Michael. While you know it all. So I obviously had to get some comeuppance, learned a lot of lessons. The good news is that I was an outsider. And you guys are all outsiders, see? And you look at things differently. The insiders are already prejudiced. They've already gone down the road. They've got people that have been studying these problems for years, so you come in there fresh. And that's what it takes. You know, there's a great story that Zig Ziglar told about the Coronado Hotel. They had a problem. They were going to put an elevator in the hotel. And the janitor overheard them working on it one night, and he said, wait a minute. He says, You're going to tear out all of these rooms and put an elevator shaft in there. That's going to cause an awful lot of dust. And I'm the guy who's responsible for keeping this hotel clean, and I don't think we can do it. And they said, well, you got a better idea? He says, yeah, why don't you just put the elevator on the outside, like a glass elevator? The janitor, see? The janitor.
The guy with dirt under his fingernails, okay?
Because he was looking at elevators differently. He wasn't looking at them as being in the building. He was thinking maybe they should be outside the building. And so that started all these outside elevators. But I mean, that's what we learned. And, you know, humility is the key. You have to not know it all. You have to go in there like you don't know anything, hat in hand, and say, what do I do? How do I do it? What does this mean? Ask a lot of stupid questions, and they'll respect you for it. And you'd be surprised, especially the people, like we said, the people in low places. And I don't mean that disparagingly. I say that with a lot of respect. Those are the people who never get asked, and they'll spill. So good luck to you on that. It was tough for us.
Any more preguntas? Yes, sir.
So, I work at Target, and I had to check out. So hello guys, my name is Rajit Singh, and I worked at the Target here at Irvine and Barranca. It's the biggest and oldest in Irvine. And I've seen your guys' products sell out. These guys make like wine that when it comes off on clearance, they're $5. And I was like, wine for $5 in the US? That's kind of crazy. And I look at this bottle and I'm like, it says Barefoot, has a foot on it. The bottle is yellow. And how is it $5? Tell me that.
Well, we were losing money on every case, but we made it up in volume. Now do your math, you engineers out there.
That's totally impossible. You just lose money faster. So it's called the lost leader. Okay, so we were doing business in 4 states in the Midwest with a big company called Kroger, and they said, well, we're going to put it on sale in all these stores for $5. And we did our math, and we decided that in 2 of the states we'd actually lose like $4 a case to do it. But we did it because we wanted the ad. Because what the ad did is it built the brand. See? So, I mean, there's more things at stake than just the price of the wine. Like, for instance, if it goes to Target and they blast it out, what happens then? And they find out it's good. Will they come back and buy it for $8? Yes, they will. They'll come back and buy it for $8. But I thought you were going to compliment us on our colorful boxes that are all one color for each type.
I was the cashier most of the time. They didn't trust me. I guess I don't know why they didn't let me do everything.
You have such an honest face.
No, I saw you need to get a license to get the forklift. And my friends.
Yes, no, we don't have time. But other questions? Yes, sir.
Yes, I know that being on a tour was like
3 or 4 tips for entrepreneurs. Here we go.
Number 1 is find your strategic allies. Again, who gets rich if I get rich? Who benefits by this solution? That's number 1, because you cannot do it by yourself. Okay? And then I'd say number 2 is leadership. You have to lead your team. You've got to be the backbone. You have to be the person that believes in it. People on your team are going to lose faith, and you're going to have to go sit at their side and get them all pumped up again. And this is at home, because you haven't even gotten out to the people that are buying your product yet. We're talking about your team, see? And then the third thing I'd say is cash flow management. It's really important. You know, it's like Bonnie, what she did was she was our top juggler. So if we had to pay all our bills at any time, the whole time that we owned Barefoot, we would have been bankrupt.
I was juggling payables and receivables, yeah.
So the idea is money comes in, money goes out. The question is, how is it that you do that when you don't have enough money coming in? See, back to the strategic ally. How do you get your vendors to front goods to you for $300,000 worth of goods for free for 90 days with no interest? How do you do that? See? Well, we did it because we missed our payment. And Bonnie called the guy up and say, you know that $30,000 you're expecting in 30 days? Well, we don't see it coming in. We don't have it, but we want to give you a heads up now. He said, wow, nobody's ever called me before they miss the payment. I always have to run them down, and I really hate, deadbeats. But listen, since you gave me that heads up notice, you're the kind of person I really want to give credit to, because you're not going to run away, because you do have empathy for my position. So I guess the third thing is having empathy. Empathy for your suppliers, empathy for the people that are working for you.
And your buyers.
And your buyers, everybody. Put yourself in their shoes, right? That's the big deal.
Bonnie, you got any additions?
Well, I wanted to say it's also your buyers, because another thing that we were able to do to raise some funds was we'd have a sale, okay? And we would say, if you buy a whole truckload of Barefoot, then we're going to give you a discount of, say, $2 a case, okay? Well, they really liked that idea. They'd never bought a full truckload before, but they went ahead and bought a truckload. Well, that was the head buyer, with his white suit on, his white shirt on. He didn't tell the warehouse man. Well, the warehouse man didn't like that idea very much, because now he had to find a place to put a whole truckload of wine. And he goes, look, you can't overload my warehouse like this. You guys are going to have to put it out in the stores. So the buyer says, well, okay, if we're going to put it out in the stores, then we'd better put it on ad. So they put it on ad, they just sold the heck out of it. So the next month, he went ahead and bought 2 truckloads. So we increased our sales by lowering our price. So once again, you lose money on every case, make it up in volume. It was being in touch with your buyer. It was being in touch with your suppliers. And we would tell them what our challenges were, what our opportunities were, and what our goals were on a regular basis, and made them partners, strategic allies. And that's how we were able to open up a number of states that suddenly wanted 5 truckloads of wine once we started growing and getting bigger. And our cork, glass, foils supplier, all of our bottling supplies, would front us those goods because we'd been in touch with them for a period of years and let them know where we were going and how they fit into our goals. Because when we made more money, they made more money. That's your strategic allies. Who are you working with?
Question over here.
Yes, wonderful, inspirational story. Thank you so much. The question is regarding the brand and sustainability. Is the Barefoot related to like a zero carbon footprint?
The Barefoot brand belongs to E&J Gallo. We sold about 20 years ago. And when we had it, which is really all I can speak about, we were supporting groups that were interested in being sustainable. We also had glass. Instead of buying new glass, we'd buy used glass that obviously had been sterilized, recycled. And we also bought corks that were composite corks. They were made not from the original virgin bark of the cork tree, but it was made from the dust of the corks and put together. So that was being resourceful. It was being sustainable. What were some other things? Oh, we didn't have a vineyard or a winery or a tasting room or a bottling line. We used what other people already had that they were not using to their full capacity. We didn't go out and plant more grapes on another piece of land. How else were we sustainable?
Well, we didn't have any turnover for the last 10 years of our existence, so we were sustainable because we were able to keep our employees. And that's a big deal these days. You know, this is the year of the Great Resignation. And I've heard numbers like 1 out of 3 people quit their jobs within the last 12 months. That's a lot. 1 out of 3. In San Francisco, 1/3 of the Salesforce Tower is vacant. So part of it has to do with childcare, part of it has to do with working from home, part of it has to do with COVID, but a lot of it has to do with company culture. It has to do with whether or not people feel appreciated, whether or not they think their boss has their best interests at heart. Does their boss even know what their best interests are, let alone care? And so that's what we did at Barefoot. We understood what our people wanted. We involved them in solutions. And as a result, they were loyal to us. We treated our customers the same way. So leadership is a big factor in entrepreneurship, absolutely.
Well, there you have it, leadership. And it is all about building a strong team and keeping the team together. And that's exactly what we're all about here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Michael and Bonnie. They write all kinds of content. They've got great resources online. They are just a wealth of knowledge. So I am now going to teach them how to Zot, and we're going to take a selfie. I'm going to explain the rules. You're going to get your shirts. You're going to have fun and form your teams. So we are the anteaters. So you take your fist like this. You get the 2 middle fingers with the thumb, and you scoot the thumb back. We're not talking llama here. We're talking anteater nose. There you go. All right, so Michael, you can stand right there. And all right, and then you're going to face this way. I'm going to come up here. Hopefully not spin too much. All right. I'm going to get a shoulder here. Okay. If you don't see yourself, you're not in it. Let's go from the back there. Get the Zots going. Let me scoot down so people see their faces. Maybe I'll just stand here. Okay, here we go. All right, on the count of, I'm on a video. You know how that happens, right? All right. 1, 2, 3. And let's do a quick little video in honor of Michael and Bonnie, the founders of Barefoot Wine here at UCI. Let them know how it works. On the count of 3, we're going to say Zot, Zot, Zot. 1, 2, 3. Zot, Zot, Zot. All right, excellent. Give them a round of applause. Thank you so much for coming out. Oh, it's not all over. They've got a couple books they want to give out. All right.
Well, we're gonna let Ryan decide.
No, I'm not going to decide. Okay, there's one there. All right, there he goes.
Gentleman in the back.
All right, go give it to the gentleman in the back there. All right. This sustainability challenge, we want to make sure you understand the rules, have the support, have the guidelines, but really, you can run as fast and hard as you want with this. Here's how this all plays out. There is $60,000 on the table. Right now, we are focused on building our teams. You can build your teams from now until the 21st at 9 p.m. There's a team roster. It's on the website. You should be able to have that. Teams are up to 5 people, a majority of undergrads. DCE students, welcome. This team is essentially going to work to create a sustainable idea. We have these 5 tracks that we talked about: air, water, energy, food, housing. That's just an inspiration. We're not picking one winner from each category. It can cover multiple. It can be a technology. It can be a nonprofit. It can be a consulting angle. It can be an educational company. It can be saving the whales. It can be a product, service, technology, whatever you want. This is a chance to be an outsider and come up with something that no adult has really figured out yet. This is something that you can fix on campus. This is something that you can increase the efficiency of the energy at the dining commons. This is something that you can do so that their eggs aren't as bad as they are. Sustainability comes in many forms. So on campus, in the community, in the globe, locally, globally, be as creative as you want. This is an exercise in ideation. It starts with a problem and come up with some solutions, play around with what works, talk to people, make friends in low places. There are so many resources on campus to find out what the problems are. In the community, your own problems with sustainability. It could be around clothing. It could be around all these different things, but I want you to be creative. You have to come up with a 3-minute pitch video. The 3-minute pitch video is due on the 30th. Then we have judges from the community. And my judges in the house, we have a few here. Nice, excellent. We're going to choose the top 20 teams based on the rubric. You have the rubric. It's very easy. You can play to the rubric so we're all judged the same. The 20 videos that make it to the next level are going to pitch live for 3 minutes. 5 teams will win $5,000 and move on. 15 teams will win $1,000. Those 15 teams will compete amongst themselves for one wild card, and 6 teams will compete for $20,000. Now, this first spring quarter is all about coming up with your idea, submitting the video, and then at the end of the quarter, there's going to be the in-person pitch. Then you have all summer. You're going to get partnered with a mentor or whoever you need help with. In the fall, you can actually connect with capstone classes and continue to work on this project. And then in December, the finals for $20,000. We did this with mental health. The winner was Zot Pods, a sleeping pod. They won $20,000. This is their first prototype. They actually built this. So we're here to help you find some sort of a solution that you can use your skills, your interdisciplinary team, technology, tie into GPT-4, figure out what Auto GPT can do for your business and how that works. This is a chance to take what you're learning and apply it. Now, the good thing about starting a business in college is that even if you fail miserably, people are excited the entire time. And you're like, I got a clipboard, I'm a student, I'm working on this project. This is an opportunity for you to build your resume. This is an opportunity for you to say, I started something. So this is not a judgment of a good idea or a bad idea. This is a participation of just get involved. And what better excuse than to have sustainability as a tie? In your interview, people are like, tell me about your leadership. Well, let me tell you about a time when I was leading a team in a sustainability challenge, and here's what went wrong, and here's how I dealt with it. So at the Entrepreneur Center, we're not saying you have to start a business, but the skills you learn in going through the process of trying to start a business is what they don't necessarily teach you at UCI. They teach you to research, but we are teaching you how to be functioning entrepreneurs. And companies want to hire intrapreneurs and entrepreneurs, so we want to tap into our innovation. And we're going to give you all shirts so you can be nice and proud. So again, it's all about finding and getting connected with a team. How many people already have a team that they're on? Raise your hands. Okay, put your hands down. How many people are looking for teams to be on? Raise your hand. Okay, so the rest of this event's going to be really cool, decentralized. We're going to play some music. We're going to hang out. We're going to meet. This is a chance for you to get past your awkwardness or your shyness and be like, do you have a team? Or I'm looking for a team, or I have an idea. And towards the end of the event, we're going to come up here, and people who haven't been placed on a team, you'll just sort of share what you're all about, what you're into. We'll help try to place. You have until the 21st to finalize your team. Any questions about that? We just want to make sure the rules and everything are clear. Yes? The nearest deadline is next Thursday. We have an event here again where we're going to talk about building backwards. It's on campus groups right now. Please at least see if you can send 1 or 2 of your team members. We are going to help you understand the functionality, and then I'm giving a pitch workshop for how to come up with your 3-minute pitch. These are all good skills to have, but we're here to help train you. The team deadline is the 21st. Then you submit the video by April 30th. And then on May 11th, you find out if you're the top 20. And then on May 20th and May 21st, we have hack days here. All of the mentors are coming. We have a whole lineup of speakers, and it's really a place to accelerate your business. And then we're going to actually have the actual final pitches on May 21st. So this is a very accelerated program, but it's going to go over the summer and then into fall. Other questions? Yes? The minimum team size would probably be 2 at a minimum, because one person is just a person. Other questions? Yes? As long as you have more undergraduates than graduates, you're good. So if you have 2 graduates and 2 undergrads, you need 1 more undergrad. So you can have 3 undergrads and 2 grads, 2 undergrads and 1 grad, or no grads. And no team with just grads. Other questions? Can I get help outside of next workshop on Thursday or somewhere else in between? Yes. This place is designed for you to come in and get help. We can help you with the ideation. We can help you with coming up with whatever it is that whatever step in the process. We're not going to tell you what to do. We're going to help you figure out what to do next. We're not going to tell you if your idea is good or bad. We're going to help you to find out how to go find out if it's a good idea or not. We're not here to judge ideas. We're here to help you have the resources to continue the ideas along. Sound good? You guys excited? Yeah! There's no other competition on campus that has this big of a pot prize. And we are not necessarily saying that you have to be a business student. We're looking for art students. We're looking for ecology students. We're looking for programmers, engineers, interdisciplinary teams. All right? Other questions? The website has all the information. You have QR codes. We have a Discord, and Hollywood will be manning the Discord. So we'll be pushing information out there. We'll be pushing information out on social. Going once, questions. Going twice, questions. Sold, questions. All right, we're going to turn on some music. Round of applause for yourself for participating. Be creative. This is a chance for you to take an active role in a solution that we all need. We have tables lined up with small, medium, large, extra large, even some double XL. The shirts do shrink, so be careful. And before we leave, Michael and Bonnie, if you can meet me on the red carpet real quickly, and I'll run back very quickly. If you notice, you are getting an entrepreneur shirt, which says, I am an entrepreneur. This is just a little card there. There's a little card for you. But once you establish a business that you are proud of and you consider yourself a founder, then you can actually get one of these limited edition founder t-shirts. So I'm going to give this one to Bonnie. Here you go. Nice. And Michael, here you go. They are truly founders. Okay. All right. You turn around. Let me get a picture of you with there and the founders. And then Hollywood, will you get ready with some music? Okay, look this way. Everybody else in the back with some zots going on. Founders in the house. Nice. Question, can you also start another company outside of this competition? Yes. Can you come in because you have a side hustle and you want to start an Etsy store? Yes. Do you want to work in the Web3 space or play with ChatGPT? Yes. We are here to help facilitate these extracurricular crazy opportunities. Yes? Yes, you can get support with nonprofits, and you can compete with nonprofits. You can create a nonprofit to compete. Yep. Sure. You can do whatever you want. The answer is yes, and in this competition, your next goal is to create a team of at least 2 up to 5 people by the 21st. Then you're going to create a video on the 30th, and then on the 11th, you're going to find out if you're part of the 20 that's going to win 1,000 or 5,000. All right? We also have micro internships here if you haven't heard about them. We have weekly workshops. We have ways to get plugged in. We have programming for you. Hollywood, are you ready with the music? Okay, maybe he's not. All right. In lieu of Hollywood, we're just going to clap one time, and it's going to set us into where you can get your shirt. Don't get crazy. You can sort of go in and out, make teams and mobs. On the count of 3, clap your hands. 1, 2. The competition has begun. Thank you, everybody. Have fun. We will see you next Thursday. RSVP on campus groups. Get your teams together. We'll be here hanging out. Get your teams.